What's up, everybody? The 62 Skylark is back! This time, working on interior stuff. Poor man style. Let's get into it. Alright, I really haven't filmed much of the interior, so here you guys go. It's kind of what we're working with. Dash is pretty well factory. Got the Skylark only optional clock. The Skylark emblem on the dash there. Probably some like 80s or 90s, I want to say like import bucket seats. I have no idea what these are. Be sure to let me know down below if you know what these are. They're in really good shape though, whatever they are. They're just not for this application, and they're ugly, and they sit way too high. So when I sit in this thing, and I'm not the largest guy in the world, I'm hitting the headliner. That's, yeah, not much room there. So anyway, we're going to probably pull these out, pull the carpet out, see what's underneath it. Pretty sure there was a bird living in this thing at some point. There's feathers everywhere. Maybe it just died here. I don't know. This ugly, like 10-inch steering wheel, gotta go. I don't know if we'll get to that this time around, so let's get into it. All right, so I started in the trunk because the interior is freaking nasty. So starting out back here, we actually freaking solid trunk in here. I don't know what that is. I haven't got that out of here yet. But pretty good shape back here. Still got to clean it up. Obviously still full of crap. Little bit of rust down in the quarters. Down there. And there. But I mean, other than that, pretty freaking good shape in here. Really can't complain. As far as stuff goes stashed in the trunk, some of the side trim that goes in here by the taillight, you know, further evidence that it is actually a Skylark, not a special. Some trim, seat belts, door, armrest, the door panels are there. Probably 50% of the trim that's all screwed up. Have to see what I can do about that. Had a set of 4 of these chrome unilug 4-lug wheels. These guys were way braver than I was back in the day running unilug wheels. Looks like it says Cal Chrome. Anyway, a set of 4 of those, 2 of which have really good tread. Not even weather checked or anything. I really wouldn't mind running those, but you know, unilugs, and I'm a sissy, so there's that. Anyway, I'll come apart, take an inventory of what we have left for parts and stuff they took off when they were obviously putting this car in primer, and start getting this all vacuumed out and scuffed up for the old rust reformer and truck bed liner trick like we did underneath it. All right, here's kind of the finished product. It's a little thin in spots with the truck bed liner, but overall looks pretty good. Hopefully it should seal it up for a long time. Keep it good and solid. But anyway, like I said, I sissied out on the interior, so I'm going to start working on that now. So pulling these seats out. You can kind of see what we have to work with here. It's pretty filthy. Pretty sure a bird and a squirrel may have gone into it in here, but we'll find out. The driver's door has always been down since I bought the car. I've had it up or down a couple times, but you're gonna see with me what we got to work with here. Nope, we're wrapped up all the way up and around. Yeah, this stuff is bad. Oh, got some speaker wire action. I didn't see the speaker. Oh, because it kind of goes up and around and into that mouse house. Cool. All right, let's keep going here. Oh, should probably pull the side panels out so I can pull the back carpet up. Kind of see what we have to work with. Yeah, more bird feathers and bees and all sorts of crap. Let me keep rolling this up. I'll pick you up again when we get the floor exposed. All right, here's what we look like, pretty much ready for scuffing. Nothing too much to report. I mean, there are some rust spots to deal with, but that'll be at some point. But Remember how I said a bird and a squirrel showed evidence of being in here? Well, there's that for you. Anyway, kind of what it looks like. I'm gonna keep going on it. Alright, you can see by the fact the floor is all nice and shiny that I just shot the rust inhibitor freaking everywhere in here. Getting high off the stuff. Since I have a little extra spray, I might scuff some of these other little areas on the body and get those treated as well while we're at it. Alright, same story with the trunk. Now we got this all covered in rust inhibitor. We're going to go back with the Herculiner truck bed liner. This is just the leftover can from the Jeep video. Be sure to check that video up there somewhere. I just punched a hole in this because this is probably like a year old now, and we're going to see if it still works. If anyone's curious, these are some of the products that I use for doing, you know, stuff like this. Duplicolor's Rust Fix is supposed to help slow down rust, at least kind of turns black when it's all dried up. Part number RF129, I believe is the part number for that one. And then the Herculiner black truck bed liner. This is the first time using the sprays and actually works pretty dang good. I believe HAL, Hotel Alpha Lima Bravo 15, for anyone paying attention at home that cares for that kind of stuff. Speaking of you guys, I don't hear from any of you guys. If you guys like that I share part numbers and tips and tricks and how I do things, please let me know down below. I'd love to know for sure. I did get one really great comment from Boto777, probably the greatest comment I've got so far since I've been doing this. So much appreciated to him. And yeah, let's get back to this. Alright, you can kind of see we've already having to niche just a little piece of this floor brace and that brace so we can try to get the plate to bolt the legs back down to on the GTO seats there. So this should give us like an extra I don't know, 1/8 inch of lift, which should give us a little space around the transmission brace hump there. We're working on getting those cut now. We should be welding these in soon. You can see we've got our plates all welded in, and these two back plates have the holes already drilled. I'm going to try to tap these with my 12 by 1.5 tap and use some grade 8 bolts. Thread this stainless. I think it's 3/16 plate. Should be plenty strong to hold the seat in safely, and see what kind of trouble we get into. You can see the carnage here. We got the back two plates welded, tapped, and threaded. The front two still need some adjustment, and yeah, we're still going to need a piece of that spacer. So like it's kicked up and won't sit flush. So got to work on that some more. I'm going to throw the seat back in quick, make sure both of those work and the bolts I picked up fit. Throw the seat back in it, mark these two, pull the seat back out, tap and drill these. Should be good to go. Tell me how much better that looks. All bolted in. One there. Those two guys there. And then obviously you have the counterpart, what came in the car when I picked it up. And there's a great difference there. These, much more better. Let's keep going. Alright, while we're on the topic of interior, we gotta do something with this. Because this is bad. This is really bad. So, because I'm a real smart guy, I went ahead and installed the new bucket seat first. So it's right in the way of trying to get this dealt with. So we're going to deal with that as best we can without taking it out because I'm lazy. And fun fact, what we're using for patching this up is actually numbers matching factory black vinyl material. Yeah, truth be told, bucket vinyl black seats interior was the option for this car. So we're going to go back with factory material, black vinyl, numbers matching even, ask me, and we're we're going to use that to try to get this patched up. I'm going to see. Oh, I still got the insulation in there even. Wow. Okay. Well, you can't see it, but they have ribs here where all that stuff is supposed to be stuck to. I'm going to scratch all that with the drill, with a brush on the end. I want to scratch it up, much like the underneath. Get it to stick to this, to get it to stick to that. And I'm going to overlap it and work my way back. Let's do it. I think I want to do this. I'm not an interior guy. I'm sure that's clear at this point. But I think what I want to do is something like that. Just to kind of hold it for a minute. Then I can work out from there, I think. Yeah, something like that. Yes. Yep. You can see how much better that is already. There, it's almost fixing itself now. Turn around and do that side. Oh, I just learned that it had the little convenient hooks for hanging stuff back here. No, that was a little short. Oh. Bad idea. Well, it was hanging in there. Got to trim for the corners. Oh yeah, can't even friggin' tell. Mint. On another note, this is probably the longest I've spent in the back seat of this car. Take that how you will. Anyway, get you in here, take a look at it. All right, there you have it, all patched up. Tell me that's not. Sorry, choking on insulation. Anyway, tell me it's not the best patch job this interior's probably seen in a long time. That's 100 times better than it was. Anyway, let's move on. All right, guys, we're gonna go for a rip. Let's do it. All right, here we go. Gotta run her down to the old convenience store just down the street real quick. Pick up a couple of cold snacks, as Vice Grip would say. Speaking of Vice Grip, I wonder what Vice Grip's doing right now. Because the guy here is just driving his Buick illegally for the first time. Okay, here we go, about to hit the highway, quite literally 2 blocks from my house. Second gear. Speedo's not hooked up, I don't know how fast I'm going. We're doing it though. Woohoo! Brakes seem to work pretty good. Alright, put some gas in this pig. Alright, a little bit of 91. See how this goes. Look at that! Have you seen anything more majestic than that? Doubt it! Alright, been a long long time since that glass has been cleaned. Here we go. The back way. Oh, the horsepower keeps blowing the phone off the dash. Up with a stand for trips. Doing the thing. Back home. Check and see how we did. We got a vacuum leak, I can hear that. That's probably because I hooked up the old vacuum gauge in the dash there. Little smoky. Not too bad. Fuel in the filter is disgusting, to be expected. Yeah, I did hook up the choke a little bit. I did solder that ground up. Yeah, I soldered it. I don't like butt connectors. They fail too often and they look ugly. Anyway, so yeah, not a bad test drive. I'm gonna go inside and have an adult beverage. All right, so I've kind of run out of other interior things to do. You know, I got the one seat in. I don't have any material for the floor patch and some other things. So I moved on to cleaning up some of the wiring out from underneath the dash. It's actually all in pretty good shape. I pulled the fuse box off and it looks all pretty much original, which is nice to see. It hasn't been too monkeyed with in the past. So got to thinking, this cluster is all dummy lights and everything else, which I'm not a huge fan of, and you know that someone added those gauges at some point. I haven't got the water temp to work yet, or the radio, but we're looking into it. Anyway, so what I started doing was might like to throw this tack in here just to kind of keep an eye on the engine speed. It still needs some tuning and some other dialing in. But you're kind of looking at the dash here. It's kind of got that clock, or it has that clock mounted on the dash, which was an option for the Skylark. But you can kind of see, got the two pods there on each side of the cluster, so it looks kind of all right, I guess. So I have no way to mount this to the dash. So I found this hose clamp, and I found this little bracket of aluminum, probably from some other project. Looks like I've already cut off before. And probably in true pole barn garage style, I'm probably just going to shoot a self-tapper right into the dash here, just to get it mounted. And don't berate me too badly in the comments. This dash pad really isn't all that great anymore. That's probably going to be a replacement, but that's a project for a later day. Anyway, so we're going to continue with this. Just going to get it screwed right into the dash pad and get it wired up. All right, let's see if we just can't get it done here. Yeah, that's not so great. Let me try something else here. There we go, got it. Just had to snug it down a little bit more. As you see, I put a little bit of a bend in it to kind of kick it up a little bit so I can actually see it when it's mounted up with the dash and everything. Then we'll throw our clamp back on the bracket there and get it wired up. All right, just like that, all mounted up in there. Not too bad. Normally I'm very anti drill anything to the dash and, you know, cheapy hose clamp anything. Not a fan, but it'll work for this until we get something better arranged. And like I said, the dash is pretty much screwed anyway. So anyway, so moving on to wiring. Black obviously is our ground. Red is hot. The white wire goes to lights, so when you turn your dash lights on, that'll also light up at night. And then green is signal. It's why green is so much longer than all the rest of them. So that'll go all the way up to the coil. Let me get that patched up and I'll show you how it works. Alright, under the dash here, like I say, I've already pulled off the factory fuse box. We have our little addition, or our own little add-on circuit that was factory. And someone went ahead and wired up this, or installed this auxiliary fuse panel, which is kind of cool. Kind of old school, got the flathead looking brass screw heads. So what we're gonna do is, because that's live, I've already checked it when the key's on, it is live. We're gonna run our hot wire to that. I'll show you how I do that here. Normally I am not a spade or fork connector, crimp connector, terminal kind of guy. I'm sure this will be temporary, so this is what we're gonna do for now. We can always come back and patch it up later. Typically, I don't like these connections because they like to fail and they don't look as nice, and I like to solder things to make things super solid. So I will show you as carefully as I can here how I go about doing this. I have had this crimp cutter tool for a long time. I use the crap out of it, mostly for cutting wire, but I do use the occasional crimp. So it's got all the little terminals in there for cutting crimps, or for crimping terminals. So how I do it, try to do this one-handed here. I will open the tool. I will usually put this in the tool first, and then close the jaw so it'll at least hold the connector, like so. And then what I'll do is I'll grab our wire, I'll check it as I enter the wire into the terminal here, and we spit it out over here on this side. I will insert until I just see the wire coming out of the front side. You can see it in and out there. I'll stick it out just far enough that I actually know it's protruding through, and then on this side I will back it out just to verify how much insulation's actually, how much of the wire insulation is actually in the protective terminal there, that blue plastic cap. That way you know for sure you're not, when you crush it or when you crimp it, you're getting the wire in the terminal, not the wire's insulation. So you actually make sure you get a good contact. And we just crush this once it's in position, like so. And you can see it makes a pretty good crimp. So you can see there's just the tip of the wire sticking through the terminal there. And not that you can see, but there's just a fractions of fractions that actually pinch down on the wire's insulation here, so this should be good. Normally, if I do end up using these terminals, I will pull the little plastic sheath, either they're like red or blue or yellow. I'll pull that off the metal terminal. I'll stick the wire through, and I'll solder the wire to the terminal, and then heat shrink over it. That way, it's a halfway permanent connection there. Like I said, the crimp I'm not a big fan of, but this should just be a temporary situation. But you know what they say? I think Mortke says it best. There's nothing more permanent than a temporary wiring fix. So here we go. Apparently I'm all out of the little fork prong terminals. So you know it's pretty budget when you're cutting up ring terminals. We'll have to go to the store to buy more of those. Should be all wired up. Let's see how we did here. Cool. Since having a cluster out so many times, I've had to actually take the headlight switch out because it's actually part of what holds the cluster in the dash. This one is having some issues. Like, for example, they're not supposed to be blue and fuzzy like that. And it looks like that whole brass tab looking thing got hot at one point or another. And then going back together, I noticed that one of these terminals is not really the happiest thing. It actually got stuck down in the body a little while ago, so we just went ahead and we're going to replace it with this hopefully new unit by Standard. Part number, if you're playing along at home, Delta Sierra 156, standard, probably made in China or Indonesia, but lifetime warranty on it. Through O'Reilly, so that'll work. Anyway, I'm gonna get this thrown in and hopefully wrap up the cluster. Cluster's back out. I got the headlight switch plugged in. You can see there the lights that have fuses to them are working anyway. I got a case of the While I'm Here's. While I got access to behind the dash, I might try to start pulling this factory radio out. I know it's probably a long shot, but I might like to see if I can get it working. So I'm gonna start with the two nuts that keep the face of the radio in, and then I think there's some stuff up underneath too. We'll have to see how involved it is. Alright guys, I'm gonna call it right there. I didn't get as far as I would like to do because I just ran out of materials and ran out of time because we need to put a video up because it's been too long. Anyway, be sure to let me know if you like the little tips and tricks and little handy things I like to show and kind of break down for you. Let me know if you like seeing the little test drives we take. Anyway, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know, let me hear from you, what you want to see, what we keep doing on this car. Maybe electrical, we got some gremlins to work on. But let me know. Thanks guys for watching. We'll see you on the next one.